You're listening to Never Heard of It, a Night Shift Radio original. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a rating and review if you're so inclined. For more information, visit nightshiftradio.com. It's getting hot.
Is it?
It is.
I mean,
You were saying,
summer is coming.
yeah, you were saying earlier that it was 90-ish there, and I've been seeing other people in the East Coast area saying that it's reached the 90s. I don't know if it actually reached that high. It definitely got pretty close here. But
Yeah.
we're noticing that so far, this new house stays nice and, like, if not cool, at least comfortable so far, as the temperature has been like consistently in the 80s the last few days. It hasn't gotten too hot in here, and I'm curious to see how far we can go. We'll eventually have to turn on the air. I know that that's going to be a thing,
Right.
because it'll just get, even if inside doesn't get too hot, it'll get too muggy outside to have the windows open.
Mm-hmm.
And so we'll eventually just have to just to remove the stickiness from the air.
Yeah.
But so far,
Last Friday was the worst, and it got to 94, and I had to turn the air conditioning on, and I was mad about it because air conditioners are loud. And I had to turn it on, and I was mad about it. But my apartment gets very, very hot. Like even now, like it's nice. It's 66 right now outside. But it still feels like it's in the 80s here, and I've had all the windows open and stuff. It's still thick in here.
Yeah, I remember that from when we'd hang out and record. Like, it would get toasty in the house, and then you'd be like, and it would just be loud. And
Yeah,
it's that compromise of, like, is it going to be loud or is it going to be comfortable?
Right. Are we gonna
have both?
Yeah, it's either be okay with sweating like crazy or have the hum of an AC in the background. Yeah.
But,
yeah, but I mean, summer's happening, so it's gonna keep on due.
What are we gonna do? So we've just done a whole month of films that were on Hulu. That was kind of coincidental, but it worked out really well, and they were all, well, I guess with maybe some minor exceptions. I mean, higher power. They were all pretty good movies.
Yeah.
What the fuck are we gonna do this summer? Like,
I
feel
know.
like we've had too good of a run, maybe.
Is it time to knock us down a peg? Is that what you're implying?
I don't want it to be, but I think it might be.
Yeah.
I think it might be time to hate ourselves again.
To hate ourselves again? We can do that. I mean, that is, we have options both ways, and we can even do a I've got an idea. We may be able to do a compromise with that.
Okay. Interesting.
But yeah. So so that being said, hello and welcome to the Never Heard of It podcast trailer edition. I'm your host, Michael Veit.
And I'm Caleb.
Hi, Caleb.
Hi. Michael.
Hi. So we've been doing this for a while now. This is our trailer episode talking about our upcoming full episode for the film She Dies Tomorrow, which is available on Hulu. This is as we were discussing, the genre is up to, I mean, we don't think it's up to debate, but some people seem to think it's up for debate, and it is not.
Yeah.
It is very much a drama thriller.
Yeah.
Thriller, definitely.
As we mentioned in the episode, you'll hear us talk about why this doesn't make sense. But someone, when tagging the movie on IMDb for genre, somebody tagged it as comedy, drama, fantasy. And it's definitely not a comedy.
And fantasy is a
real stretch.
And fantasy is definitely a stretch. Fantasy is like, classifying this as a fantasy is kind of one of those, like, well, it could be if you take it this way. That's kind of the same idea of like I Kill Giants. We talked about this. So the fact that, like, sure, I Kill Giants is a fantasy if you say it's real. Like, it becomes a sci-fi fantasy film if you say that the giants are real and all the things are happening to her. But if you don't, then it defaults back to just, you know, kind of a drama of a young kid coming to grips with grief. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like you see animated trolls and you see her fight them, but like it's in her head. It's
Mm-hmm.
not actually happening. Therefore, is it actually fantasy sci-fi? You know, at that point,
Yeah.
you know, like where's the line?
And again, as we'll talk about in the upcoming full episode, there are elements of this movie that could certainly have made it fantasy were they explored further. But because
Right.
there's only hints of it, I don't think that there's any way to like truly call it a fantasy, and
Agreed.
definitely not a comedy.
And definitely not a comedy. No, not at all. Like in no way. I mean, you know, we talk about in the episode, I don't think there is ever even an instance that was intended to be funny.
Mhm.
Like the only line that I could see, no, there's literally no instance in this movie where a scene I could be like, oh, that was meant as a joke. Like that's
Yeah,
a setup for a giggle. There's
so
never a line of that.
there is a scene where they're at like a birthday party, and the birthday girl cannot stop talking about dolphin fucking,
Yeah.
about how dolphins just love to fuck. And so
Yeah.
like I guess like that is kind of like the kind of comedic moment, but there's so much additional tension in that that it's hard for that to even be like comic relief.
Right.
And I don't know if that was intended to be, or if that's just like setting up who this character is and like how weird that. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah. So the film is playing, like as we mentioned, the film is on Hulu. This film will wrap up our Hulu month. And for those listening on right now to this trailer episode, and if you are a Patreon subscriber, our full episode is available right now on Patreon. So you can go to Patreon and actually listen to Sunday's episode right now. But for everybody else, you know, for those of you on YouTube, go ahead and hit like, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so you get notified when this episode drops on Sunday. And for those of you listening on your podcast player of choice, don't forget to subscribe. Subscribing is how you'll get notified when new episodes drop. We drop our full episodes on Sunday. It happens at like midnight on Sunday. So by the time you wake up Sunday morning, the episode will be available waiting in your podcast player of choice. And as
Very
we mentioned
exciting.
in the full episode, you may potentially be listening to us on Pandora right now. And if you are, hello and welcome to the Never Heard of It podcast.
Yeah,
We appreciate you if
that's
you're
so
new.
wild.
Yeah.
I didn't even know Pandora did podcasts.
I think it's new because the ability to submit was very new, was a very recent addition. I just discovered, and I submitted all of our shows to that. That being said, we have a lot of other shows. If you head to nightshiftradio.com, right on the front page, it gives a list of all of our active shows. You know, we've got a lot of stuff going on outside of the podcast. We have Left of the Dial Live. We have an upcoming animated series that we're working on, and we've got a lot of cool things happening over at Night Shift Radio. We have a blog that we update. There's the print edition of the Storyteller series. If you're a writer, there's also you can submit to the Storyteller series to have your short story produced into a full cast production. Or if you have an audiobook or you have a full novel, you can have that produced into an audiobook as well. So there's a lot going on nightshiftradio.com. You'll want to go and check that out. Yeah.
It's exciting times.
It is exciting times. It is indeed. So thanks a lot for listening, everyone, to this trailer episode. We do really, really appreciate it. And if you are on Apple Podcasts, go ahead and just leave a rating or review. You can even just click the stars if you want, but even just leaving a couple of words of like, hey, these guys cool. Hey, these guys suck. Both of those are fine. You know, just go ahead and leave a comment. Apple's really big on, you know, making sure that people that they will push more podcasts out for the more ratings and review you get. So like it'd be really cool. It'd be very swell of you if you did it.
It'd be cool if you did.
It'd be cool if you did. All right, everyone. Thanks a lot for joining us, and we will see you Sunday.
Hey.
Yeah.
I was thinking about something.
Okay.
When we were talking about the other shows on the network.
Uh-huh.
Remember how it was really recently that you and I were talking about like the science of like your inner voice, like how you hear yourself talk.
That was last
versus
episode.
like how like it sounds out into the world. Yeah, it was last episode.
Yeah.
So fucking crazy coincidence Casey from Superpod HeroCast pinged me this week when the new Second Edition 1 dropped. And just if I'm saying a bunch of names to you listeners that don't sound familiar, don't make any sense, check out the rest of our shows. They're pretty cool. But he asked me, like, were you sick when you recorded the Second Edition 1, or like we're just playing with the bass on your voice? And I was like, well, like I remember because that was last Sunday when I had just gotten into town from traveling, and we did the Never Heard of It episode. Like I got home, watched that movie, recorded that episode, watched Battlestar Galactica, recorded Second Edition 1, and barely made it through like before collapsing.
Right.
So I told him that, and then I went and listened to it. I was like, holy shit, this sounds way more like how I hear myself. So
Weird.
apparently, like I was just like the register of my voice was just dipping so much from being tired that it actually came out sounding like what I hear. And I told Ellen that. She's like, yeah, when you're tired or like when you're drunk or whatever, like you speak softer and you speak deeper. I'm like, weird.
All right.
But
Caleb turns into a smooth, soft talker when he's there.
Oh yeah. So just fun little relevant things. We're talking about the shows on the network. Then now feel free to end the show.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And if you're like, what the fuck are you talking about? Go listen to last week's episode, man. You'll totally get that reference. But yeah, so again, thanks a lot for joining us, everyone, and we will see you Sunday.
Yeah.